When you withdraw your energy, the world reveals its truth. Aldous Huxley. There's a moment in every person's life when the noise stops. Not because the world went quiet, but because you finally withdrew your energy from feeding it. And in that silence, friend, the truth comes crawling out like a creature that's been hiding in the shadows all along. Aldous Huxley understood this. He saw what most refuse to see, that the world doesn't reveal its true face until you stop giving it your power, until you stop chasing, stop performing, stop pretending. So let me ask you something, and I want you to really sit with this question. When was the last time you stopped? Truly stopped. Not scrolled, not distracted yourself, not filled the void with another task, another notification, another meaningless conversation. When did you last withdraw your energy from the machine and just listened? Because here's what happens when you do. The masks fall, the illusions shatter, and what you thought was solid turns to vapor in your hands. Let me paint you a picture. Picture a man. Let's call him David. David wakes up every morning at 6. He checks his phone before his feet touch the floor. 37 notifications, messages from people who need something, emails from a job that drains him, news headlines designed to make his heart race. He scrolls, he responds, he gives. He showers, but his mind is already at work. He eats breakfast, but he doesn't taste it. He kisses his wife, but he's not really there. He's already gone, already given himself away to a world that never asked if he was okay, that never asked if he had anything left to give. David drives to work and he gives more. He smiles at people who don't see him. He says yes when he means no. He performs. He adapts. He bends. He breaks himself into smaller, digestible pieces so that others can consume him without choking. And at the end of the day, when he collapses into bed, he wonders why he feels so empty. Does this sound familiar? Because David isn't just one man. David is millions. David might be you. We live in a world that has perfected the art of extraction. It extracts your attention, your time, your energy, your soul, and it does it so smoothly, so seamlessly, that you don't even notice until you're running on fumes, until you're a ghost in your own life. You give to your job, but it doesn't love you back. You give to people who take and never reciprocate. You give to systems that were designed to keep you spinning, never arriving, always chasing, always one step behind. You give to ideologies, to movements, to causes that promise meaning, but deliver only exhaustion. And here's the cruel trick. The world convinces you that this is noble, that this is love, that this is purpose. It tells you that if you're not grinding, you're not growing. If you're not producing, you're not valuable. If you're not available 24/7, you're selfish. So you give and give and give until there's nothing left. But then something breaks. Maybe it's a crisis, a loss, a betrayal, a moment where your body just refuses to get out of bed. Or maybe it's quieter than that. Maybe it's just a whisper in your chest that says, I can't do this anymore. And you stop. You withdraw your energy, not dramatically, not with fanfare. You just stop feeding the beast. And that's when it happens. That's when the world reveals its truth. The people who said they cared, they vanish. The job that said you were family, it replaces you in a week. The friends who needed you, silent. The causes you bled for, they move on without you. The algorithms that knew your name, they forget you existed. And you realize something terrifying, something that makes your stomach drop. You were never really connected. You were just useful. You were a resource, an energy source, a battery. And when you stopped producing, when you stopped giving, the world didn't mourn you. It barely noticed. This is the truth Huxley saw. This is the revelation that cracks you open. The world doesn't love you. It consumes you. And the moment you stop being consumable, you become invisible. Do you feel that? That weight in your chest? That's not depression, friend. That's clarity. That's the veil lifting. That's reality without the anesthetic of busyness. But here's where it gets deeper. Because when you withdraw your energy, you don't just see the world's truth. You see your own. You see how much of your life was performance. How much was fear? How much was you trying to earn love that was never going to be freely given? How much was you running from the silence inside yourself? You see the idols you built, the career you thought would save you, The relationship you thought would complete you. The achievements you thought would finally make you enough. And you see them for what they are, golden calves, beautiful distractions, things you bowed to because you didn't know what else to worship. And in that seeing there's grief, real bone-deep grief, because you mourn the years you gave to things that never gave back. You mourn the version of yourself that believed the lie. You mourn the innocence of thinking the world was fair, that hard work guaranteed reward, that good people always win. But listen to me, this grief, this revelation, this isn't the end. This is the beginning. Because when you withdraw your energy from the world, you finally have energy for something else. Someone else. You have energy for the truth, for the real, for the eternal. There's a reason Jesus went to the desert. There's a reason prophets always end up in wilderness. There's a reason mystics and saints and seekers all talk about the dark night of the soul. Because you can't hear God in the noise. You can't find truth in the distraction. You have to withdraw. You have to go into the silence, into the emptiness, into the place where the world can't follow. And that place is terrifying. Because in the silence you meet yourself, the real you. Not the curated version, not the one you present to the world. The broken, wounded, confused, desperate you. The you that's been hiding beneath all that giving, all that performing, all that trying. And you realize you're not okay. You realize you never were. You realize you've been running your entire life from a wound you didn't know how to heal. From a question you didn't know how to answer. From a hunger you didn't know how to feed. Who am I when I'm not useful? Who am I when I'm not achieving? Who am I when no one's watching? Who am I when I have nothing left to give? These questions will break you, and friend, they should, because you weren't meant to find your identity in your productivity. You weren't meant to find your worth in the world's approval. You weren't meant to fill the God-shaped hole in your soul with accomplishments and accolades and applause. So here you are, depleted, withdrawn, alone in the desert of your own making. And the world has revealed its truth. It doesn't care. It never did. It will take everything you give and ask for more. It will chew you up and spit you out and move on to the next source of energy. But there's another truth waiting in that silence, a deeper truth. A truth that doesn't shout but whispers. A truth that doesn't demand but invites. God doesn't need your energy. God doesn't need your performance. God doesn't need you to earn, to prove, to justify your existence. God already knows your name, already holds your story, already sees you, the real you, the broken, beautiful, messy, magnificent you. And God says, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Not more work, not more demands, rest, real rest, soul rest. This is the revelation that saves. This is the truth that heals. This is the moment where everything shifts. Because when you finally stop trying to be God, stop trying to hold it all together, control it all, fix it all, be everything to everyone, you make space for the actual God, the one who doesn't extract, the one who gives, the one who fills, the one who restores. And here's what happens when you encounter that truth. When you let go of the world's demands and fall into God's arms, you don't become weak. You become free. Free from the tyranny of other people's expectations. Free from the addiction to validation. Free from the exhausting performance of being someone you're not. Free from the lie that your worth is tied to your output. You start saying no, not cruelly but clearly. You start setting boundaries, not walls but gates. You start choosing rest over hustle, presence over productivity, depth over breadth, quality over quantity. You start giving again, but differently. Not from obligation, but from overflow. Not to earn love, but because you're already loved. Not to prove your value, but because you know your value is inherent, God-given, unchangeable. You become dangerous to the systems that fed on you. Because you're no longer controllable, you're no longer manipulable. You're no longer a resource to be extracted. You're a person, a soul, a child of the divine. And you know it, and the world that revealed its emptiness when you withdrew. It doesn't get to define you anymore. It doesn't get to measure you anymore. It doesn't get to consume you anymore. So let me bring this home. Let me make this real. Let me give you something you can do today, right now. this moment. Withdraw your energy, not forever, not from everything, but strategically, intentionally, prayerfully. Identify one thing, just one, that's draining you. One relationship that only takes, one commitment that depletes you, one habit that numbs you, one expectation that crushes you, and step back from it, just for a week, just as an experiment. And in the space you create, sit in silence. Not with your phone, not with music, not with distraction, just you and the quiet. You and your breath, you and God, and listen. Listen to what rises. Listen to what you've been running from. Listen to what you've been avoiding. Listen to the voice beneath all the noise. The voice that knows your name. The voice that says, you are more than what you produce. You are loved not for what you do, but for who you are. This is terrifying. I know, because we've been taught that silence is dangerous, that stillness is laziness, that rest is weakness. But friend, it's the opposite. Silence is where you find your power. Stillness is where you find your strength. Rest is where you find your God. But let me warn you, when you start withdrawing your energy, when you start setting boundaries, when you start choosing yourself and God over the world's demands, there will be backlash. People will call you selfish. They'll say you've changed. They'll accuse you of abandoning them. They'll be angry that you're no longer available to be used. They'll project their guilt, their fear, their emptiness onto you. And here's what you need to understand. Their anger is not about you. It's about them. It's about their own dependence on your energy. It's about their own refusal to face the silence. It's about their own fear of withdrawing and seeing what you've seen. Let them be angry. Let them leave. Let them reveal themselves. Because everyone who falls away when you set a boundary was never really for you. They were for what you gave them. And the ones who stay, the ones who respect you, the ones who celebrate your rest, the ones who meet you in the silence. Those are your people. Those are the ones worth giving to. Those are the relationships built on mutuality, not extraction. So here's the hope. Here's the redemption. Here's the light at the end of this long, dark tunnel. When you withdraw your energy from the world, you don't lose connection. You find it. Real connection. Divine connection. Soul-to-soul connection. Connection that doesn't drain but fills. That doesn't extract but exchanges. That doesn't consume but celebrates. You find people who see you, who honor you, who give as much as they receive. You find work that aligns with your purpose, not just your paycheck. You find rhythms that restore you, not deplete you. You find a relationship with God that's not transactional, but transformational. And you discover something miraculous. You were never meant to be everything to everyone. You were meant to be you, fully you, authentically you. God designed, God loved, God held you. The world will keep spinning without your constant energy. Let it. The systems will keep running without your sacrifice. Let them. The people who only take will find someone else to drain. Let them go, because you were made for more than being a battery. You were made for communion, for connection, for co-creation with the divine. You were made to rest in God's love and overflow from that rest, not to run yourself into the ground trying to earn a love you already have. So let me leave you with this. Aldous Huxley was right. When you withdraw your energy, the world reveals its truth. But he didn't tell you the whole story, because when you withdraw your energy from the world and give it to God, God reveals his truth too. And God's truth is this: you are loved. Not for what you do, but for who you are. You are seen, not by the world, but by the one who made you. You are enough, not because you've achieved enough, but because you are his. Stop performing. Stop proving. Stop bleeding for a world that will never be satisfied. Withdraw your energy. Step into the silence. Meet yourself there. Meet God there. And let the truth, the real truth, the saving truth, set you free. The world will reveal its emptiness, but God will reveal his fullness. And friend, there is no comparison. So if this message opened your eyes, if something in you stirred, if you felt the weight of recognition in your chest, then subscribe. Share this, come back, because the next revelation will shake you even more. The next truth will cut even deeper. The next invitation will demand even more courage. But I promise you this, it will be worth it. Every uncomfortable truth, every difficult withdrawal, every moment of silence. Because on the other side of it all is freedom. Real, soul-deep, God-given freedom. And that, my friend, is what you were created for. End.